Company is making a surprising claim tonight that it's already in preclinical testing on a plant-based coronavirus vaccine and could be ready for mass production as soon as June. You probably got a lot of questions when you hear that, and so do I. So let's bring in Reynolds American Executive Vice President, Dr. Jim Figlar. Doctor, great to have you with us. This is fascinating.
Well, thanks for having me on, Shannon. I appreciate it.
I got to start with this tweet that comes in from a Guardian reporter who says, is big tobacco going to save the world from a respiratory disease? Can 2020 really get any weirder? Now, I've tried to go and read a little bit of the science and understand as best I can. I know that you also had success during the Ebola crisis with this as well. How does the tobacco plant figure into this whole thing?
Well, it's pretty interesting. The tobacco plant, people have been studying tobacco for a long time, and it's a very interesting plant. And it's unique to this particular purpose. These particular plants, you can infect them with proteins, and they work like little factories to make the thing that you want it to make, almost like a photocopier. So when you introduce an antigen or an antigen candidate to the tobacco plant is very fast and rapidly replicates it, and then we can isolate it and purify it and see if it works.
Okay, so are you essentially infecting the tobacco plants with some form of COVID?
Not of COVID, but of the antigens that we think will be good against fighting COVID.
Okay.
And so that's what you infect it with, and then that's kind of turns into your vaccine candidate. So when you get an antigen and then put it in a vaccine candidate, it elicits an immune response in your system, which then allows you to fight the virus. So that's what we're trying to do, and using the tobacco plants to generate it for us.
Okay, so the Motley Fool puts it this way. British American Tobacco claims that once fully operational, its tobacco-based production could crank out 1 million to 3 million vaccine doses weekly. They say that could be as soon as June, but so people understand that doesn't mean this is going to be used on humans in June. What happens in June when you can then produce those mass quantities?
Yeah, so the system that we have allows us to rapidly and quickly make an awful lot of doses, because vaccines, you need a very small amount in order to have a good dose of vaccine. And our system allows us to do that. Where we are right now, it's still early stages. We're only just in animal testing to test for immune response based on the candidates that we've generated. And it's interesting, we were working on a seasonal flu vaccine when the genetic sequence was released by Chinese scientists in late January, and our scientists and academic partners looked at that sequence and said, I think our foundational system that we've developed using these tobacco plants, we might have a chance at generating an antigen, so we went to work with it.
Okay, very quickly before we have to go, what would be a timeline for then this being something that's helpful, that could actually get to humans and vaccinate us against this thing?
Well, we're very impressed with the progress so far, and if we continue to have these good results, we're in animal studies right now, and we'll start to get our first bit of information later in April. And if all goes well and we get the right partnerships and relationships with and continue to work with the FDA and other government agencies, we could potentially go to a phase 1 trial sometime after June.
All right, Dr. Jim Figlar, the world is cheering you on and hoping that this is a great success. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being on.